Hello, Alta Livers. My name is Beth Spotswood. I work at Alta Journal, and I am so excited to welcome you to what internally is secretly one of our favorite Alta Live episodes of the year. This is the fourth annual, I think the fourth since how long's it been since the pandemic? The fourth annual last minute holiday gift guide, where we rope in booksellers from bookstores around the state to give us their last minute gift recommendations with books in an array of categories. So if you are like me, I've bought one present for, I have about 20, 30 people to deal with. This is going to be really, really helpful episode. I'm so excited to welcome Casey Proddy of Bookshop Santa Cruz, Karen Finlay of Alibi Bookshop, that's in Vallejo, and Claire Bone of Wild Sisters Book Company, that is in Sacramento. Yes. So we're a little bit northern central California this time. Most important, I think, emphasis we want to make is support your independent bookstores. So if you are going to buy these books, which you absolutely should, and don't worry, we're keeping track of all of these recommendations, are going to send you an email with the title, the author, and a link to buy them after this episode. But if you are keeping track and you're going to go buy in person, go to your local independent bookshop. If you are in Santa Cruz, Vallejo, or Sacramento, obviously go to the stores that these ladies work at. But if not, please, please, please go to your indie bookseller. Before we kick things off, I'm going to do my sales pitch for the gift that keeps on giving, Alta Journal. Alta is an award-winning quarterly magazine. It also makes an incredible last-minute gift. In fact, you can go online right now and buy your smartest loved one a subscription to Alta and slip it in along with one of the books that is recommended here today. Alta costs $50 a year. You can get your friend, family member, yourself, the gift of Alta for $50 a year. With that comes 4 gorgeous issues. Our next magazine is The 7 Wonders of California. It comes out January 1st. It is, no one's seen it yet, but it's and a special gift, it's our book of cartoons, the first 5 years of cartoons published in Alta. So a super fun gift, a subscription. I really encourage you to support the work we're doing and support independent journalism by subscribing to Alta today. This interview will be recorded and emailed to you later this afternoon, this evening. As soon as I pick my kid up from school, we will include all of the books that are recommended today, as well as links to each of these bookstores so you can support them and anything else that pops up today. There's a Q&A button at the bottom. I don't know that we'll have tons of time for questions, but if you have a burning question, please do let us know and I will try and toss it into the conversation. Hello from Marin. Hi, Ukiah. It's always great to see in the chat where people are zooming in from, so do let us know. And with that, we're going to kick things off. Get ready, guys. Super fun. This is a fun group today. All right, so the order we're going to go in is Casey, Karen, Claire, and basically we're going to go through a list of categories. All right, so we're going to book categories, obviously, and we're going to start with fiction. So Casey, what is your fiction pick?
Okay, I couldn't narrow it down, so I have 2. This is what booksellers do. If you're looking for the buzziest book of the year, it's Martyr by Kaveh Akbar. Coming of age, 20-something, poetry infused within it. I've never read anything like it. So fresh and innovative. And then the pick for everybody, every single person would love this, The Mighty Red by Louise Erdrich. Obviously an award winner author, so well written. Deep characters. It's one small town, one small story. But if you like Demon Copperhead or Hello Beautiful or Heaven and Earth Grocery Store, this is the book that you'll love this year.
All right, Karen.
Right. Okay. So I have to say, one of my favorite books I read this year is The Book of Love by Kelly Link. Normally a book that I would really be into because it's fantasy and magic, but oh my God, I loved it so much. I love Kelly Link. She has been nominated for the Pulitzer, and it's magical and sexy and weird, and I just loved it. So give someone you love The Book of Love. And then this is a little different, but Dave Eggers, our beloved Dave Eggers, we all lay claim to Dave Eggers being from the Bay Area. He has these jewels of short stories that are all intertwined, and they're just gorgeous. And so it almost it almost becomes a novel. We have signed ones because Dave stopped by, so we're really lucky. And then I just want to give a quick shout out. I don't know if everybody knows, but there's a new Murakami out. So someone who loves the Wind Up Bird Chronicles like I do. There you go. Okay.
Awesome.
All right.
So
Claire.
as soon as you guys started putting up your books, I realized that's what I left is I don't have the book, so pretend. So my fiction is The X-Files by Jessica Joyce. It's a romance, second chance romance, which is my favorite, set in Napa Valley in a historical like family vineyard. And it's two former flames that are helping their best friend plan his wedding. And so they have to go through the motions of like planning a wedding that's not theirs. And of course, they fall back in love. And it's just really sweet. And then if you love Napa, there's lots of really fun Napa scenes and vignettes that are really great. So that's X-Files by Jessica Joyce.
All right, folks, those are your fiction picks. We are moving on to my fave, nonfiction, my second fave, nonfiction and history. What do you got for us, Casey?
We have a paperback, just out in paperback, All the Beauty in the World, the Metropolitan Museum of Art and Me. This is a New Yorker author who had a personal tragedy in his life. And so he quit his New Yorker job to go work as a guard in the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City for 10 years. And this book is part travel log, part memoir, part healing. And basically it discusses not only the art on the wall, but the people who flow through the doors and the other guards from all over the world. And it makes you believe in the beauty of diversity of our humanity through history, through just interactions. It's quiet, it's reflective, it's beautiful. It just makes you feel good. And it would just be good for anybody who appreciates the world we live in. I loved this book.
I'm so glad to hear that because I already bought it for my mom. Okay, yeah, Karen.
I will say, Casey, that is some of my favorite customers' favorite book. So really good choice. My choice too, Bookshop by Evan Friss. And when I first heard about this book, I thought, it's anybody but me or Blake.
So
Casey, I love this book. It is just a history of America. And the first chapter, I mean, it made me cry, talking about all of these bookstores that I love. I used to work for a publisher, so I used to go to these bookstores and, oh, it's so good, but you'll love it too. But it talks about Ben Franklin. And in a letter to his friend, Ben Franklin said, if only half the people in the colonies would read, we wouldn't be in the kind of trouble we're in. So dear Ben, okay. And speaking of which, the next one I have is Hope for Cynics. I heard him on NPR and I just went out and ordered this book because we might need it. We just might need it next year. And it's just lovely. Hope for Cynics, the surprising science of human goodness. And we're all lucky. We work in bookstores. We see the every day. So share that with someone you love.
Yeah. And mine is In Defense of Ska by Aaron Carnes. He's a local Sacramento music journalist and podcaster, and it's his second edition. It's a Rolling Stone recommended book. So if you love the music scene, if you love ska, new topics that are in this one is LA's ongoing vibrant traditional ska scene, how young Latinos are keeping ska just aflame in LA, how Hurricane Katrina affected ska. Didn't know that. So that's kind of cool. It kicked off a thriving scenes just in the interest of community. And then I thought it was really interesting. Christian ska group Five Iron Frenzy broke a Kickstarter record in the 2010s, while making progressive activists out of their fans. So you're going to hear more about that. So that's like a really fun history of music and a cool scene. And it's a local Sacramento author.
All right.
I just took a stack of those yesterday and put them on the sale floor. Yeah.
Yeah. He'll come sign them. I'll tell him to come sign them.
Kevin is asking, hold the books up. They will if they have them, Kevin, but don't worry. We have a list of everything that they're going to recommend, and we're going to send it to you. I promise. And we will post it at Alta Online as well with a recording of this. So you can go through and revisit this episode and remember whatever you need to. All right, Casey, we are going to biography memoir.
Ooh, and this is the man, John Lewis, right here. I know if you're like me, you want to engage with the world, but you're also just a little bit nervous about the uncertainty of it all. And so what I turn to is John Lewis. I think we all need to turn to John Lewis. And what he does, what this biography is about, is really about two things that I think are really important. One is to look at a man with a just incredible moral character and think about the ways that we want moral leadership in our life. And then the second thing is how to build a movement. So John Lewis's whole life was working towards civil rights and then being in Congress, but it was all about making connections between groups to kind of do something powerful and important in the world. And so as I was reading this, it just made me feel better about everything. It gave me like a guiding light to hold on to. And so I just encourage everybody to get to know even more about John Lewis than you ever thought possible.
Karen,
Ugh,
biography memoir.
such a good one. The one I wanted to do, we're actually out of stock on. That's Didion and Babbitt's. Last year, oh my gosh.
So
I was
good.
so excited for this book. We had an entire Joan Didion book club last year where we spent the entire year reading Joan Didion and Eve Babbitt's. And it was like, it was heaven. And so the other one in substitution, but not just a substitute, is the Friday Afternoon Club by Griffin Dunn. So
Yep.
it's about the whole family, the Dunns and Joan Didion and Dominic. And it's so good. I mean, I can talk about Joan Didion for days. So
I just finished Didion and Babbitt's, and oh my gosh.
yeah. Well, I loved her book about Anelik's book about Lily Anelik's book about Eve Babbitt. So it's great.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
And so the other one, speaking of book club, we're doing this for our last book club of the year tomorrow night, is How to Be a Good Creature by Cy Montgomery. If you ever hear any animal expert on NPR, it's usually Cy Montgomery. She's lovely. And I thought this was a really good way to end the year. And I told everybody who bought it for book club that it makes the perfect gift. So don't, eat chocolate while you're reading it so you can give it to someone you love. It's just lovely. So yeah.
Yay.
I take offense. I think you should always eat chocolate while you're reading.
I know, but if you want to give the book away, you don't need a thumbprint,
Yeah.
But for your book upload, it's good.
I popped our review. I'm sorry, I popped our review of Babbitt's or Didion and Babbitt's in the chat. And also you can read an excerpt of Griffin's book. Griffin Dunn is an Alta contributor. And we've got an excerpt of the book that Karen mentioned right there, the Friday Afternoon Club. So you can read that on our website as well. Okay, Claire.
Oh, good.
What you got for us?
Yeah, so mine is What I Ate in 1 Year by Stanley Tucci. Which it's like a food diary of what he ate in a year. And at first I got into it and I was like, I ate pasta and cheese and wine. But like by the end of it, it was such a touching memoir on just like the simplicity of family. And he talked a lot about because his wife is a lot younger, he's got young kids again, so he's kind of doing like parenting over again, and while he's launching adult children into the world. And so it was just a really poignant discussion on his past life with his first wife who died and his wonderful new family. And I don't know, I did not expect to cry, and it was just a really sweet book. So highly recommend. And there's recipes.
And it's Stanley Tucci.
And it's Stanley Tucci.
All right. What is our next category? I got so sucked into that one. Our next category is, here we go. Mystery true crime.
Good one.
Casey, what do you got?
So I have Mother-Daughter Murder Night by Nina Simon in paperback as well. So this takes place along the California coast. It's in Elkhorn Slough, which is kind of near Santa Cruz, actually. A dead body comes up and some kayakers find it. And the whole kind of mystery of it involves like California land use and environmental groups and all these things that, especially as Californians, you'd like really kind of think is amazing. But then there's this grandmother-mother-daughter relationship in it. There's totally different personalities, super fun, witty dialogue between the 3 generations as they navigate trying to figure out what happened with this dead body who arrived. So for anybody who likes both the great story and the landscape of California and a dead body, this is the one for you.
Nice. I love both of those things. Karen.
So my true crime one is actually Alcatraz Ghost Story by Brian Stannard. He did an event with us a few months ago, and it was one of the best events I've ever had. He is a tour guide on Alcatraz, and this convict, Roy Gardner, was so famous in the 1920s that he was in the newspaper every single day. We've never even heard of him, so it's so fascinating. So it's a history.
Oh, wait, we lost Karen. She's going to come back. Don't worry. It's Alcatraz Ghost Story, but not ghost stories. It's a history.
Maybe the ghost is getting involved. I don't know.
Oh,
This is a Halloween episode. She's going to come back.
Oh, goodness gracious.
We have a frozen Karen.
Oh, man. Right when she's talking about ghosts, I don't know.
I know, or maybe there's been a criminal act that's happened at Alibi Bookshop. Okay,
right.
She's gonna reconfigure and come back, and while she does that, she's holding the book up so we can't forget.
I know, it's perfect.
Claire, what is your pick?
Yeah.
For...
So mine is Pony Confidential by Christina Lynch, which is the best unhinged, like crazy story. It is told from the perspective of the pony and his former owner, and the pony is like grumpy and has it out for humans and they are embroiled in a murder mystery. So it's really fun. It spans the pony travels cross country twice. It's really fun. Christina Lynch is coming to our store in January and we cannot wait. Everybody who's read it has just like been truly delighted by it. So it's
what was it called again?
Pony Confidential by Christina Lynch. Yeah.
All right, we've lost Karen. I assume she's going to come back. She will.
Yeah.
She's going to figure it out. Okay, Casey, what do you have for young adult or kids?
So I don't know if you've had the same phenomenon, but basically over the last, since Thanksgiving, we have so many people coming in and being like, my kid loved Wicked. Like, can I get Wicked for my kid?
No.
And the trick is, for those of you who don't know, Wicked has a fair amount of sex in it. And it is not a kid's book. It's not at all a kid's book. And so there's all these like, you're 11-year-old, take Wicked. And so we're like, okay, we have to find an alternative for all of the kids who are like loving Wicked right now and want that vibe that is not Wicked. And so this is called Sleep Like Death. Kaylin, I think Barron is how you say it. She wrote Cinderella is Dead, and the tagline for this is Cinderella is dead, but Snow White fights on. And the 17-year-old protagonist conjures kind of like her magic through nature and talking to animals and needs to save the kingdom. And her mother, who was in partnership with her, is going through something. So it's like a mother-daughter relationship, but also kind of should she go off on her own and save the day? So this is for your Wicked lovers, and it's a much safer choice than giving Wicked to Wicked.
I didn't realize Wicked was rated R.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I know. You wouldn't think, but it really is.
I was the mom who gave her 11-year-old Wicked. Thank God she never read it. She was like, I just liked the cover. Yeah. Thank goodness. The one time.
Karen has reappeared. She disappeared during the mystery portion of the event, though we did get your book in, Karen. Are you, can we hear you? We can hear you. Okay, are you ready to give us kids and young authors?
Yes, of course.
Young adults?
Yes. Okay. So I have to do a quick shout out for The Eyes and the Impossible, Dave Eggers. Please, it's about a fast dog who lives in a park with bison and windmills. Okay. Yes. But the other one is a new Alice Hoffman for juvenile readers. It's if you know Practical Magic and you're a big fan of Alice Hoffman, you'll love this one too. It's When We Flew Away, a novel of Anne Frank before the diary. And there's something so fascinating about Anne Frank. So many, young girls, and boys, and, just kids in general are so fascinated by her story. And so this is what happens beforehand. And then my picture book it would have been Pablo Gets the Grumps, but we sold out of it. I'm a good bookseller. Is Barnaby Unboxed. And it's a little bit, like an update on the Velveteen Rabbit in a way, what makes toys loved and real. And look at Barnaby. I mean, come on. So that's by the Fan Brothers. So thank you. Sorry I disappeared. I was being mysterious during mystery.
I love it. No, it works. I knew you'd come back. All right, Claire, what do you got for kids? Or
So for
young adults?
kids, yeah. So the first one, I've got two. I've got Youth Group by Jordan Morris. It's a graphic novel. If you are a Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan, you will love this. It is demon hunting youth group kids. Set in like the late 90s, early 2000s, Southern California megachurch scene. If you were part of that scene as a child, you will totally recognize it's very tongue-in-cheek, very witty, very funny. There better be more to this series. So that's by Jordan Morris. And then second, I've got another Sacramento author, Please Don't Bite Me by Nazi Pakpour. Nazi is an entomologist, and she goes in and does a deep dive on all the bugs that bite us, why they bite us, what they, do with blood when they bite us. And Owen Davies illustrated, so it's beautiful. And Dr. Nazi, being as amazing as she is, she created curriculum that is good for science standards for US schools. So she even has curriculum on her website, and I'll give you that info too. So those are our picks.
Awesome. All right, we are
Yeah.
moving on to, we're kind of getting into the tricky, what do I get the coworkers, the people that you might not know that well, which is one of the things that I've always struggled with. And books are just such a great thing. So we're going into, you kind of know they're into food or cookbooks or crafting. What do we get that person? Casey.
Okay, so we have Chinese Enough by Christina Cho. Christina Cho wrote Mooncakes and Milk Bread about Chinese bakeries.
Great.
Lives in the East Bay, up in the Bay Area. This is about home style comfort Chinese food. So think like stir fry, dumplings, noodles. And I don't think there's a person on this earth who doesn't like that kind of food. So I think that's what would make this good for everybody. It's basically Cantonese food with California influence. And it's not for the absolute beginner chef, but it also isn't too fancy and too hard. The ingredients aren't too hard to find. So it's a perfect for just like somebody who likes to cook, who is going to like make food for themselves or their family in this loving, loving way, which is what food should all be about. Our cookbook buyer has cooked multiple times from it and loved every single thing she cooked. So this is our pick for now bring closer, make you hungry for the cookbook person in your life.
Can you imagine the glory of being a cookbook buyer? Wow, what a job. All right, Karen, cookbooks,
Okay.
crafts, foodie stuff.
So Rancho Gordo, we kind of joke, is a cult around here. And my friend who works there says that they have t-shirts saying, I promise we're not a cult. So my choice is The Bean Book by Steve Santo. Rancho Gordo is just up the street from us, basically in Napa, and we sell this book like crazy. So it's brand new. It's so beautiful. The store next door to us, Anchor Pantry, sells Rancho Gordo beans, so it makes a really, really great gift. If you go next door, go to the other local stores around you and make, packages and do something like that. So The Bean Book. And then the other one I did, it's on Claire's. So it's the Stanley Tucci. Here's the cover.
Yay.
So those were my foodie picks.
Love that. Another
Awesome.
shout out for Tooch. Okay,
Yeah.
Claire.
This is Diasporican. It's a Puerto Rican cookbook. It's actually from the Wayback Machine. It released a few years ago. It's by Ileana Maisnet. She's also Sacramento, Oakland area author. I went with the theme for the Sacramento authors, but it's full of family recipes and family history. And so if you really love great food and hearing about other people's stories and like why food is just passed down through the family, this is just a perfect book for that. And it's oh my gosh, it's delicious. So that's my pick.
All right, we're moving on to, what do we give our coworker, our neighbor, like our postal worker, someone you've got to give a book to and you absolutely do not know them?
So I picked, this is a little bit Bay Area centric, but I picked Bay Area Wildlife by Jeff Miller, and illustrations by Obi Kaufman. So you all know Obi Kaufman from California Field Atlas, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. And it is it's a guide to 60 different species all over Northern California, fun facts about them, when you can see them, how you can see them. You become like an expert tracker and, about their mating habits and stuff. And it's also just super fun. So like I opened it up and it was like sea otter, adorable psychopath. So that's the kind of vibe for this kind of thing. There's maps. So you can take excursions. So for instance, I think King Tides is the last one of the year this weekend. And there's a whole section on how to go tide pooling and where you can go tide pooling. And so this would be something that would give somebody adventures for the entire year to come.
Brilliant. Karen, what do we give them?
Well, Casey took mine, so I have two others. Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay.
Another vote for that one. So these are two of our bestsellers is The Backyard Bird Chronicles by Amy Tan. It is so beautiful. It's basically her biography, and this woman can do everything. She can even illustrate the birds. And then this is a brand new one. If anyone loves braiding sweetgrass, like most people, I'd say 99.9% of people love braiding sweetgrass. This is Robin Wall Kimmerer's new one, The Serviceberry. And it's a little volume, so it makes a really lovely, lovely gift. And if you don't know them very well, I always love to recommend these chronicle books, One Line a Day. It's a 5-year journal.
Oh, yeah.
They're just beautiful packaging. And then you don't have to worry, are they into birds? Are they into, indigenous wisdom? Are they into nature? Well, they can write what they're into in 1 line a day.
1 line a day for those, if I got this right, I was given that once, is like you write 1 line for a day for 5 years. So you keep this book for 5 years and you can see where you were a year ago, 3 years ago, etc.
Or what you wore. I like to, write down what
that's
I
fun.
Oh, yeah. I bet you what you wear is far more
I mean,
interesting.
you could Stanley Tucci it and do what you ate.
Exactly. You have a new
Pick your own
bestseller.
theme.
Yeah. So we have indigenous wisdom. We have bird watching and wonderful California. I'm going the alcohol route.
Go for it.
I chose Churchill, A Drinking Life by Jen Sanders, another Sacramento author. We love our authors. She is one of the coolest people. She knows like all the facts about all kinds of stuff, but it's like part history book, part recipe book, part like bar stories, like, night out stories, all about Winston Churchill. So we've had people pick that up who don't drink, but they are total history buffs. So if you've got like, it's a great like your older neighbor, your father, not that you wouldn't know your father-in-law really well, but maybe some people don't, like any history buff kind of person. And certainly those who like to entertain, they're all going to find something really cool in Churchill, A Drinking Life.
All right, our last question of the roundtable, and then I always throw in a surprise question at the end. Okay, Casey, what do we get the person who has read everything? We all have that person in our life that is the literary lover. No matter how brilliant we think we are at books, they know more. What do we get them?
So I would say a couple things. One is get them a Libro FM subscription, which is an audiobook streaming on your phone. It's an app that supports independent bookstores, and they have credit bundles you can give them. This is an alternative to Audible. It is such a great app, and I use it constantly. It is so well done. So that supports independent bookstores, and then they can get whatever they want. The other thing I would say is we have amazing like banned book journals, mugs, pouches. So I would get somebody like a little bit of this and then give a donation in their name to the American Library Association. There's so many banned book things happening in the country right now. And for someone who loves books, that they'd want to fight that fight. And so giving them a little bit of that together, I think would be a great gift for somebody who loves books.
All right, Karen.
That's so great. So my original thing was this new gift edition of Mythos by Stephen Fry came out. It's illustrated. So even if they've read all sorts of other mythology or Stephen Fry, they would love this edition. Yeah, all of these retellings are they're so hot right now, you guys. Mythology is so hot. So that was good. But I also want to jump on Casey's idea too and explore the gift section of your local bookstore and support your local bookstore, Libro FM, and your local bookstore, you can get, candles, you can get puzzles, you can get tote bags, you can get mugs. But I just want to call out these really cool things. They're book darts. They're little page markers, and they have them for all sorts of authors. My favorite, Dorothy Parker, and then, Alta's favorite, my other favorite, Joan Didion. So those are just kind of cool little literary things you can get. And they come in all different authors, Vonnegut, Maya Angelou, Jane Austen. So it's pretty cool. So
All
there
right.
you go.
Awesome.
Claire, what do you got for?
Yeah,
Read
so
it all?
I mean, hey, if you've read it all, then let's test that. I've got the Check Your Shelf literary card game. It's a trivia card game. So pair that with a bottle of wine or a 6-pack of some local IPA, and you've got yourself a literary trivia night with your reading buddy friends that have read it all. And you can test it and see who really has read it all.
That would be such a great gift for a book club
Right?
too, if you've got, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Okay, fantastic. My last question was going to be about sidelines, which is an industry term that I've learned working at Alta, but those are all the little gifts. Sidelines are all of the
Exactly.
little gifts that they have at a bookstore. So I was going to ask you what each of your favorite sideline is, but I won't because it seems like you've kind of selected them. What do you want for Christmas? Is there something in your store, in each of your stores? I realize I'm putting you on the spot, that you want? Because if I was in a bookstore, I would be eyeing. I just went to Romans for the first time, if you can believe it, a few months ago. I'm a Northern California person, and I wanted, a lot of things. But so what is, I imagine if you work in a bookstore, you've got your eye on something, periodically. Casey, is there anything?
So we do this thing called a winter reading program. So we do a summer reading program to try to get kids to read during the summer, and they get like pizza and ice cream if they do that to stop the summer slide. And all these adults are like, if kids get prizes, I want prizes to read. So we started a winter reading program, and we choose 8 titles, and you have to read 3 of them by the end of March. And you get a flight of wine from a local winery and a cookie from Pacific Cookie Company here. And so I read some of the titles, but I would want to read more. I actually have one of them, The Cemetery of Untold Stories by Julia Alvarez, which is a book, magical realism, about a woman who is an author who's at the end of her life and who gets to own your work and your artistry afterwards. So she actually buys a cemetery and buries her manuscripts, and it's fascinating. So anyways, so we have 8 different books. So what I would want is like a package of a bunch of those books that I haven't read, so that I could win wine and cookies at the end of the day. That's what I would want.
I like that
Answer. Karen, what do you want?
All I want for Christmas is for you to come into the bookstores and shop independent and don't do big box stores. But I did order myself something as a gift to myself. I saw the Tamara de Lempicka exhibit at the De Young a few months ago, and it's just incredible. And there's this gorgeous art book, and I just want it. And I ordered an extra copy so that, maybe I could splurge myself. It's so beautiful. It's not something I usually buy for myself, but why not?
Why not?
Do it.
Why not?
All right, Claire, what do you want from your own store?
What do I want from my own store? So I'm the owner of our store. So the joke is that my husband's always like, you already own it all. Just grab what you want. And I never do. We just got new store merch. In a different color. This one's green. We got them in charcoal, and I've been eyeballing that because I haven't grabbed one yet. But yeah, as a mom of 3, I don't really think too much about what I want. I'm always thinking about what to do for my kiddos. That was one I needed homework for. But yeah, shop independent. That's what I want for Christmas.
So with that, this is your reminder, everyone. If we have not made the point in the past 30 minutes, shop independent bookstores. You are serving yourself. Let me tell you, no one from a big box store would sit down with us and do this. They are doing all of this for free, by the way. We do not pay them. They were taking time off work. Karen had to find someone to cover the register for her while she did this. So and the humor and the knowledge, you could see them all nodding at each other's recommendations, is that it is priceless. And that is what you get from independent bookstores. And it's why it's so important for Alta to partner with indie bookstores, because of this kind of connection you get. So I know I'm preaching to the choir here. You guys are all awesome. Don't forget, if you are in Santa Cruz, swing by Bookshop Santa Cruz. If you're in Sacramento, go to Wild Sisters. If you are in Vallejo, go to Alibi, say hi, ask them where their copies of Alta are. And
Yeah.
of course,
Right in front.
right where they belong. And of course, don't forget to shop Alta, altaonline.com. Finally, join us next week. It's our last Alta Live of the season, where we are so excited to welcome Anita Felicelli. She is the editor of our California Book Club, and she's got a brand new book out. And so we are so excited to speak with Anita about her new book. She'll be in conversation with our wonderful contributor, Heather Scott Partington. They are dear friends, and it's a kind of a lovely way for us to end supporting one of our own authors. So join us for that. That's December 18th, 12:30 here at Alta Live. With that, you guys are awesome. This is so fun. Let's all hang out and have coffee and talk about books.
Yes.
I'd love that.
Away.
Done. Let's do it.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Happy
Thank you.
shopping.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank